In this video, we're going to work out how much each pip should be worth. Before we can do this, we need to know two things. Firstly, how much capital do we have? Let's say we have £10,000. And what percentage of that have we decided to risk on each trade? Let's say 1%. So 10,000 divided by 1% equals 100. And let's just double check that. Let's just get the calculator. 10,000 divided by 1% equals 100. Okay, so on this trade we're going to risk a maximum of £100. The next thing we need to know is the distance in pips between our entry and our stop loss. So let's assume we're looking at a 4-hourly chart or 240-minute chart of the Australian dollar. Now let's assume we want to place an order to go long at the top of this bar with a stop loss at the low of this bar. Okay, now what we first of all need to do is to establish how many pips that is. Now there are a number of ways in Esignal to establish the size of a bar. One of the ways is very simply, let me just zoom in first. One of the ways, very simply, is to hover your cursor along the high and make a note of the number, or rather make a note of the price in the right hand column. So in this case it would be 0.89936. and then we just go down to the low of the bar and hover at the bottom, and now it says 0.89727. okay, and we very simply take one from the other and that will give us the number of pips. So hover it at the high of the bar and hover at the low of the bar and jot down the prices. Another way to find out how many pips are in a bar is very simply to just draw a line. So from the top, draw a line down, and there you can see it says 20 pips. Okay, it says 208, but FXCM measure to the 5th decimal point, so really that's 20 pips. Okay, a nice easy way to do that. Now there are other ways. Very simply, you can open a data window. So just right click, select data window, and here you can see the data window appears, and it gives you the open, the high, the low and the close of the bar that the cursor rests on. So if we have the cursor on this bar, it gives you the high, which is 0.89935, and the low, which is 0.89727. And this is a very accurate way of measuring the distance between the high and the low. Now there is an even simpler way. If you just right click anywhere on the chart and go to properties and select data window, which is already selected here, and then click tick range. If you click tick range and then close that window, you'll notice it says here TR. Now if you hover above this particular bar, it gives you a reading of 208, which is 20 pips, or very nearly 21 pips. But let's just keep it simple and just stick to the 4th decimal place and just refer to it as 20 pips. Okay, so now we've established that this bar between the high and the low is 20 pips. Okay, now we know that we have £100 to spend on this trade, to invest or risk in this trade. So let's get the old calculator up again. So we've got £100 to risk and we have 20 pips. So put in 100, divide it by 20 pips, and that will give you 5. Okay, so we need to tell our broker that on this particular trade we would like to trade at £5 per pip. Okay, so for every point or pip price rises in your favour, you're making £5, and for every pip that point goes against you, you're losing £5. But the very important thing is you'll never lose more than £100, which fits in with your risk calculations, and that's absolutely fine. Right, there really isn't much more to it than that. That really is as simple as it is. Have fun trading, and don't forget to calculate your risk per pip, or the value of each pip before each trade. It's very important. Thank you very much for listening.